Many forest gnomes have a knack for illusion. She made illusion magic her life's work. Blessed with a vibrant coterie of imaginary friends as a child, the master illusionist now delights in the company of semi-real illusory creatures brought to a semblance of life by her magic. Welcome. MTG Commander Spotlight, Minn, Wily Illusionist. Minn, Wily Illusionist is a 3-to-cast legendary gnome wizard, with an ability of whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 1/1 blue illusion creature token. With this creature gets +1/+0 for each other illusion you control. She creates an army of illusion friends that will wreck our opponent and cheating a card from hand to the battlefield depending the illusion's power, when that illusion dies. What is our strategy? Our strategy is to draw our second card each turn so that we can make an army of illusion friends and wreck our opponent's faces. We must protect our commander, so that we can create more illusion tokens. Our spells must align with draw effects that causes Minn to trigger her first ability. After having a ton of tokens, if they die we can cast any spell depending on the illusion's power and play it to the battlefield. Decklist composition. Here we organize our deck into composition that compels us the right cards to our deck. Okay, let's walk through to the deck list. Mana ramps. First, we have the cheap casting cost mana rocks. These are Sky Diamond that taps for blue mana, Mind Stone that taps for colorless mana and pay 1 colorless, sacrifice Mind Stone you draw a card. Prismatic Lens, also taps for colorless mana and by paying 1 colorless mana, tap, you add 1 mana of any color. And Fractured Power Stone that taps for colorless mana. Next, we have Heraldic Banner. As it enters the battlefield, choose a color. Creatures you control of the chosen color will get +1/+0. And Heraldic Banner taps for 1 mana of any color. A mana rock that can pump our creatures and taps for mana. Midnight Clock is an artifact that taps for blue mana. Pay 2 colorless mana and blue mana, put an hour counter on Midnight Clock. At the beginning of each upkeep, put an hour counter on Midnight Clock. When the 12th hour counter is put on Midnight Clock, shuffle your hand and graveyard into your library, then draw 7 cards. Exile Midnight Clock. Next, we have Commander's Sphere, taps for 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. And Sacrifice, draw a card. The next is Mana Geode, taps for 1 mana of any color and when it enters to battlefield, scry 1. The next 2 cards can produce 2 colorless mana, and these are Hedron Archive and Sizes Ring. Hedron Archive, when sacrificed, you draw 2 cards. Let's proceed to draw engines. The first card is Curiosity Crafter. It has flying and you have no maximum hand size. The triggered ability is whenever a creature token you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Curiosity Crafter giving us the opportunity to have no maximum hand size and giving Minn's illusion tokens the effect of gaining cards when we hit our opponents. While Reconnaissance Mission has an ability of whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. And cycling this card for 2. It has the same effect of Curiosity Crafter but it is on all creatures. While Archmage Emeritus has an ability of Magecraft, whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, draw a card. These cards will help us draw more cards. Next, we have Wavebreak Hippocamp. Has an ability of whenever you cast your first spell during each opponent's turn, draw a card. This will be easier to us to draw our second card each turn. The next cards that can draw us 2 cards but some of the cards has a downside on it. First, we have Artificer's Epiphany, draw 2 cards. If you control no artifacts, discard a card. Next, we have Tragic Lesson, draw 2 cards. Then discard a card unless you return a land you control to its owner's hand. Next is Frantic Search, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. Untap up to 3 lands. The upside is you can untap your lands. Next is Perilous Research, draw 2 cards, then sacrifice a permanent. Next, we have Behold the Multiverse and Hieroglyphic Illuminations. These cards draws you 2 cards. Behold the Multiverse has Foretell, good for casting it later, while Hieroglyphic Illuminations have cycling. Next we have single target removals. First, we have cards that can return a creature, and these are Gale Strike and Repulse. Their second ability is draw a card. With these, we can interrupt our opponent's threatening creature or commander on the board. Next, we have Depart the Realm, leave in the dust and turn into a pumpkin. They have the same ability, and that is to return a non-land permanent, and you draw a card. With these, we can mess our opponent's boards and plans. Next, we have Dismiss and Contradict. These cards can counter target spells and draw us a card. Next, we have Teferi's Response. With an ability of counter target spell or ability an opponent controls that targets a land you control. If a permanent's ability is countered this way, destroy that permanent. And draw 2 cards. Next, we have Arcane Denial, counter target spell. Its controller may draw up to 2 cards at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. And you draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. Next, we have Thassa's Rebuff, counter target spell unless its controller pays X, where X is your devotion to blue. Let's proceed to board wipes. First, we have Perplexing Test that choose 1, return all creature tokens to their owner's hands or return all non-token creatures to their owner's hands. We are choosing the second choice because of the illusion beaters created by Minn. Next we have Etherize, this card can return all attacking to their owner's hand. Next we have the Standalones. The next cards are creatures that benefit your Cantrip way of playing. These are one Irophage that has flying and Jace's projection with an additional ability of pay 4, put a loyalty counter on target Jace Planeswalker. If you have Jace Planeswalker, Jace's projection will help it. With these 2 they will grow upon drawing a card and deals massive damage to our opponents. Next, we have Body of Knowledge, a creature avatar with an ability of its power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in your hand. We have no maximum hand size, and whenever it deals damage, draw that many cards. A bully in the making. Next, we have Krovikan Mist. With an ability of flying, and Krovikan Mist's power and toughness are each equal to the number of illusions on the battlefield. Minn will put the illusion tokens and Krovikan Mist will grow as a bully. Next, we have Phantom Steed, has an ability of Flash. When Phantom Steed enters the battlefield, exile another target creature you control until Phantom Steed leaves the battlefield. Whenever Phantom Steed attacks, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of the exiled card, except it's an illusion in addition to its other types. Sacrifice that token at end of combat. This synergies well with Minn's second ability. Next is the Phantasmal Creatures, and these are Phantasmal Dreadmaw, Phantasmal Dragon, and Phantasmal Bear. They have the same abilities. When it becomes the target of a spell or ability, sacrifice it. Let's proceed to enhancers. First, we have Winged Boots. The equipped creature gains flying and it has Ward 4. This equipment will protect our commander from abilities and spells from our opponents. Next, we have Lord of Unreal, has an ability of illusion creatures you control get +1/+1 and have hexproof. This will protect our illusion tokens and pump them to deal more damage. Next, we have Paragon of Gathering Mists, has an ability of other blue creatures you control get +1/+1 and pay 1 blue mana, another target blue creature you control gains flying until end of turn. These will pump our blue creatures more. While our illusion tokens are not pumped yet. Tetsuko Amazawa, Fugitive will give our creatures with power or toughness 1 or less can't be blocked. These give evasion to our creatures and take the game to ease. Next, we have Levitation and Wonder, which has the ability of creatures your control gains flying. This makes our beta illusion tokens deal damage easier. Proceeding to our enablers. The first enchantment card will be Monastery Siege. By choosing whether it is Khans, at the beginning of your draw step, draw an additional card, then discard a card. Or Dragons, spells your opponents cast that target you or a permanent you control cost 2 more to cast. This card can draw us more cards or protect our board state. Choose wisely. Next, we have Wizard class, which has the ability of you have no maximum hand size or by leveling it up to level 2. When this class becomes level 2, draw 2 cards. Or by leveling it again. Whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. With this set of skills, we can address our strategy to take the win on us. Venser's Journal has an ability of you have no maximum hand size and at the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 1 life for each card in your hand. This card will help us to survive the game more by gaining us tons of life. The next cards can manipulate your top card before drawing it. These are Preordain, Opt, Brainstorm, and Deliberate. These will help us to answer or improve our board state. Keep watch and read the runes can give us tons of cards so we can find answers to our enemy or find the right cards on our board. while Murmuring Mystic can give us more illusion friends when we cast sorcery or instant spell. Inscription of Insight has a kicker cost, and when paid choose any number of these options, return up to 2 target creatures to their owner's hands or scry 2, then draw 2 cards, or target player creates an XX blue illusion tokens. Next, we have a strange looking card that disables all non-token creatures by making them 2/2s. With that ability, its power and toughness are each equal to the number of face-down creatures on the battlefield. And this card is Ixidron. This card can be our alternate Winkin of our deck, and his name is hard to pronounce. This is Triskaidekaphile, has an ability of you have no maximum hand size. And at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have exactly 13 cards in your hand, you win the game. And his last ability, by paying 4, you draw a card. A win con and a draw engine. The next cards are mill effects that when we draw a card, that targets our opponent and they mill the top card of its library. These cards are Jace's Erasure and Teferi's Tutelage. The next cards will add more draw card function, and these are Teferi's Ageless Insight and Thought Reflection. These cards have a similar effect, and that is drawing us 2 cards when we draw a card. We are almost done, but first, what is our land composition? Let's proceed. Our lands consist of 34 islands, Lonely Sandbar and Remote Island. Having Lonely Sandbar and Remote Island, when we cycle it we can draw a card. The total cost is summed up through TCG Player, and the total cost is $34.52. For the full description of the card prices, please visit the link below and change it to TCG price. Prices will change eventually. I would like to thank you all for watching. Please give a like. Press the subscribe button for more updates and share this video to your friends who loves MTG. Once again, thank you.